where I used to work, there was this like constant talk about promoting diversity or wanting to hire diverse talent, right? And I know like a lot of folks like to throw that around. And I think, it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to take the actions that are required in order to make that happen. And it is a lot more intentional, or it has to be a lot more intentional than throwing a Pride logo up on your website in June.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Outreach.io. Every revenue team suffers a sales execution gap, the gap between the potential revenue of an organization and the actual revenue it achieves. To innovate, grow, and win, leaders must embrace technology to improve their team's sales execution. When organizations close the gap and execute at their full potential, they win more deals with less effort, forecast without guesswork, and deliver a better customer experience. Over 5,000 global customers trust Outreach as their sales execution platform. Find out why Outreach is the right solution for your team at click.outreach.io/side. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Other Side of Sales. I'm Ryan Woodward.
And I'm Evan Patterson.
And today we have the always insatiable when it comes to learning, hoping to make a positive impact on the world, leaving it a better place than she found it, account executive at Chili Piper, Ashley Zagst.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
I'm just happy we have you on the show.
Yeah, same. So tell us a little bit about Chili Piper and you, and just want to hear kind of everything you have going on right now.
Sure. Yeah. Chili Piper's pretty dope. I started working there about a year and a half ago. I was just chatting with Evan before we started this that I was one of 6 SDRs at the time. I've been promoted a few times. I now find myself in a closing role. And we're like over 200 people now. So it's just been bananas how fast we're growing, and it's been super fun to be a part of that. So yeah.
I was like less than 2 years ago. I was like a year and a half, roughly.
A year and a half. Yep.
Year and a half. Yeah, that's really fast. I think one of the reasons the company's growing so fast is in part due to one, it's just a really great tool. There's that. But two, there's really great people there, and like content like yours. You talk a lot about, women in sales, queer people in sales. You're a perfect poster child of an ally for all these different types of identities. I could go on for hours about the amazing things that you've done for not just sales industry, but just, not being a bad person in general and teaching people how to be good people.
Oh my gosh.
So I would love to learn more about, this. For those that are watching on YouTube, this amazing little rainbow chili that's on your shirt, I know means something, and I know what it means, but I would love for the rest of the world to know what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is probably one of my proudest accomplishments in my sales career so far, pun intended. This is our first piece of Proud Piper swag. So Proud Pipers is an employee resource group that I, with the help of other folks in my organization, started at Chili Piper. It's been like we've been around about a year now. And so it was really early on in my time at Chili Piper that I presented this. And the way we make kind of major decisions at Chili Piper is via what's called a decision memo. And so this is one of the things I really love about working there is that anyone can put together a decision memo, proposing a change in the way we do something, or, just whatever it might be. And this is like a way for that to be transparent with the whole organization. That way other folks can have their input on that as well. Obviously, this should all be data driven. I can't just be like, I think we should go to Mexico because it's fun. It has to be data driven. So anyway, long story short, I submitted a decision memo for Proud Pipers, like I said, about a year ago. I was really nervous. I got some other leaders in the company to help me and like guide me through that process. And once I submitted it, it was like 7 p.m. my time, which was 10 p.m. my CEO's time. So I had no expectation that he would get back to me until the next day, if that, right? Like I thought it would probably be a few days, whatever. Literally 5 minutes later, in my email, he was basically like, "This is the easiest decision ever. Yes, it's approved, and you will run it. Like take flight, basically." And so from that point on, it's been this beautiful work in progress and continued iteration on growing this ERG, recruiting more members, building out sort of our pillars and why we exist, and trying to figure out, what we're going to do this year. Last year, we had a few months to plan our Pride event, and it was, we got it done. It was a virtual circus. So
that's cute.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. So I'm like my partner is a circus artist. I guess I could say my fiance now. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. She is a circus performer and a dancer here in Portland, and she and I'm also in that community. And so I basically helped produce this like live stream circus event for our Pride event last year, and that was super fun. So we're actually about to start planning what we're going to be doing this year. So yeah.
That's awesome. That explains some of the things I see on your Instagram, because I was like, I'm in pain watching what Ashley does, but it's so beautiful. But I'm just like, I need some Tylenol just watching this little reel here. I'm just like,
trust me, I need Tylenol after that too. It's Advil and Tiger Balm all day, so it's okay.
I was gonna say, is it like contortion, body contortion?
I am not a contortionist. My partner is. I work on an apparatus called Lyra, which is the hoop that is suspended. I also work on a trapeze and sometimes some fabric. So yeah.
And I trip barefoot in my kitchen over nothing.
Yeah.
We both have our talents.
Yeah,
I fall down the stairs going to the train station. That's what I do. Gotta have diversity and talent, not good diversity. Right. That's a bad example. Oh my goodness. Ryan, do you have any ways to connect the dots between, swinging 50 feet in the air on a hoop and how one can turn that into a prospecting strategy?
I would say it probably takes a lot of mental fortitude and grit, which definitely are two things that you kind of need to be a successful SDR. I think like grit's one of those things when we try to like think about those intangibles that you can't really like put into words. Like it's really tough. Like it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like a general word. Like when you think of grit, you can probably, I feel like you ask 10 different people and probably like half of them will probably explain it one way, and there'd be 5 other different ways of explaining it. And
well, I love it when people ask me about like, how do you handle rejection, or like, how do you stay resilient? And I'm like, sales is nothing compared to the performing arts world. Like, I was a professional dancer. I got told no every day. And I didn't just get told no. I got told, you're too tall, you're too this, you look too young, you look too old. Like maybe I was too big, like whatever. I got told a lot of BS. Can I swear on this? I swear a lot.
Yeah, go ahead. Context over content.
I got told a lot of shit over that career or over that part of my life. And so coming into sales, like somebody being like, "Oh, sorry, we're going to go a different direction," is not going to crush my soul. Promise.
It makes total sense.
Might hurt your quota a little bit, but you'll still wake up.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Hopefully I've done the work, right? Like that's my job, is to make a fat pipeline and.
Well, it's like I said, it's fellow LGBTQ people here. We also get to experience that in a lot of other contexts, or even just hear of all of our friends and chosen family getting to deal with that as well. You and I had briefly discussed this in the past, and you even told us this before talking on this call, that you see a lot of areas of improvement, especially when it comes to like, retention benefits, and like just how do you just attract and retain talent that is queer, specifically because we are as visible as we choose to be. More often than not, that's the case. It's a whole different bucket compared to other types of diversity. Chili Pepper seems to have done a lot of that very well. And I would love to know more, just like, what are things that people could mirror that Chili Piper doing, or not even if even if Chili Piper's not even doing it, like, what are just things you wish you could see more? I know it's a broad question, but
Yeah,
I'd love to know.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I think, where I used to work, there was this like constant talk about promoting diversity or wanting to hire diverse talent, right? And I know like a lot of folks like to throw that around. And I think, it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to take the actions that are required in order to make that happen. And it is a lot more intentional, or it has to be a lot more intentional than throwing a Pride logo up on your website in June. And, a lot of times, and we hear people talk about this, where people say, well, I just can't find the talent, or like, I just, like, and that is bullshit, right? Like, there are plenty of places to find diverse talent, whether that's LGBTQ, whether that's people of color, whether that's women, you name it. Like, there's plenty of places to go to find that talent. And to your point that you made a second ago, Evan, we are as visible as we choose to be. And so I remember having this conversation with someone else a while back. Like, if I'm sitting on a call, even if I'm wearing this rainbow logo, like, you don't know, and you can't ask me. And if I don't tell you, you can't assume, and you don't know, right? So it's not about, it's so much deeper than that. And I will say this, like, when I chose to go to Chili Piper, I had a few other offers, and like, there were a couple of reasons why I chose Chili Piper over the other places. And one of them was that I knew someone who worked there, who was out, who was comfortable, who clearly was like progressing in their career and doing amazing things. And I saw that representation, and I saw that as like, this is a safe place for me to be me and for me to grow my career. And I can do that being my whole authentic self. I won't have to question whether I can like speak freely about who I am to my coworkers. I won't have to question if that's going to impact my career trajectory. I know, based on what I see, based on the actions that are being taken, they're like, okay, this is gonna be a safe place. And then I got in there, and like I said, within a few months, I was starting the ERG. Like, we have 80 people in there now. Like, it's amazing. And that's, I think, what folks have to do, is like create those spaces. It's seeking out that talent, right? But then also creating the space where people are going to feel safe to be who they are and like do the things they want to do. Yeah.
No, it totally makes sense. Community is super important, not just as a marketing strategy, but it's also important for like in our off out of work lives. LGBTQ people are known to seek and build our own communities. So why not enable that in the workplace? Yeah.
And I feel like when you feel supported like that, like, obviously you have a strong like attachment to what you guys have been able to build with there at Chili Piper, and then with Proud Pipers. So it also gives you like a purpose to want to share that same experience that you've had with other maybe not Pipers today, but future Pipers that come on board.
I next generation.
I found out from one of our recruiters that someone mentioned when they got the offer and like signed to come join Chili Piper, that one of the reasons they applied was because of Proud Pipers. And that is 100% one of our pillars of why we created the employee resource group, is to be that kind of beacon that like, hey, this is a great place to work. If you're in the LGBTQIA community, you're going to be supported, you're going to be loved, like, come on over.
I absolutely love that. I think we've talked at length about, there's like, even when we first met, there's a lot of nuances between, how to find that in like an early stage company versus mid stage versus later and stuff. You entered Chili Piper, and correct me if I'm wrong, around 50 employees, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, what would you say to a company that's like, how do I do this when I've got 10 employees? An ERG might be overkill at 10, but what do you do?
Sure, maybe. I think it seems, maybe this is silly, but like, because the company I was at before, I mean, I was employee number 4, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think they did the greatest job of this, but like, it's putting content out there, like showcasing the diversity of your employees and being proud of that, whatever that might look like. It's like putting your money where your mouth is, if you're
demonstrating it with your actions. Don't just say it.
Don't just say it. Don't just put a pride logo on your website. Like, I don't know.
You gotta start somewhere.
I think one thing that's missed on like the business side of it is that oftentimes at the top end, like you're kind of taught to delegate. And so with this issue and with issues of diversity, you really can't delegate any of that. Like you have to be the one to lead it because you're the leader of the company. And if that organizational structure isn't like devoted to something like that, then it does make it really, really challenging to like have sweeping change that comes into leadership decisions, comes into representation throughout the organization, and not just, we have a couple reps or, a handful of reps.
We've hit a quota,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, it can't be that. Well, and I think the other thing, like I said, the visibility of folks in the organization who are like openly gay and, that they were in leadership. They're like Chili Piper, we pride ourselves that like 50% of our leadership identifies as women, and a significant portion of leadership also identifies as LGBTQIA. So like that also helps, right? Because it's not just, and I hate to say just, but it's not individual contributors who are like, cool, I can go, join that squad. It's like, no, I will actually have a path of potentially becoming something, larger, bigger, greater, whatever. And that's realistic. Like my path isn't going to be blocked, and it's not just lip service, right? Like, so there's that.
And I think it's kind of a point. I mean, I feel like a lot of leaders, and one thing I, hope to leave behind if, the day ever comes, is just to have somebody that takes whatever position I'm doing be better than me at it. So like, hopefully it's somebody that is either racially diverse or some sort of diversity to it, and probably has better credentials, maybe better public speaking ability, whatever talent trait they bring to the table. I just hope they're able to do it better. And maybe because of me coming into my current role and trying to change the game and perform at a high level, that then it opens the door for other people to have those same opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I relate too. I was attracted to Trender because Betsy, being a strong female co-founder, she's the poster child of having been through some shit. So it's great to learn from that. And as a gay man, there's a lot of intersection between women's rights and gay male rights specifically too. So I've got to learn and watch and compare and contrast in all the right ways with her skills and leadership and advice. So I totally relate. I don't like to see, it's all cis white straight men that are up there. That's great. Fantastic. Love y'all, but not that much. I like to see the variety too.
For sure.
Let you know it's not just hearsay. I wanted to ask you something about when it comes to sales in specifics. One thing I don't think is talked about enough. We talk a lot on not just on this podcast, but a lot of podcasts, is about what to do when it comes to dealing with the inevitable BS of queerphobic or misogyny in the workplace. But we don't talk often too much in this industry about what to do when that's the prospect that's doing that, or the customer. And I know I've struck a chord with you because this strikes a chord with anybody who is anyone of diversity in sales. So I would love to know, like, what are your thoughts on that? Or if you want to swing back to Chili Piper, like, what does Chili Piper do in that situation? Take your pick.
So it's funny that you bring that up, because I actually literally just got off a call with a colleague. I'm trying to figure out the best way to like tell this story. Have a prospect who I had been working for months, talked about various product offerings that could potentially help them, went through the whole sales cycle.
Doing your job, yeah.
Doing my job.
Yeah.
They brushed me off. I kept following up, trying to like continue the conversation, and eventually, they were like, "Oh, it'll be a January, February decision, whatever." I was like, "Okay." January came up, reached back out again. They basically said like, "No, thanks, we're not interested." 2 weeks later, they connected with my colleague, who happens to be a man, went through a demo. He reached out to me right before the demo because he realized, oh my gosh, this is in your ROE. This should be yours. Like, do you want to hop on this call? And I was like, actually, I can't. Like, I have another call, but go ahead, take it. I'm curious why they're back. They literally just told me to buzz off. Apparently the demo went really well. They asked for a contract. I chatted again with my colleague. He was like, yeah, we're going to follow up, but this is your account. I said, okay, why don't you still join me on the call? Because this is starting to feel a little curious. Like, I don't want to make assumptions here, but it does seem a little curious.
Yeah, you get a vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. And an email came through literally today. Well, first of all, the follow-up email that my colleague sent was basically like, hey, it's great meeting you guys. I'm CCing my colleague Ashley as I was just filling in for her today. This is, she'll be running the show basically, right? That was literally the first line of that email, and then the follow-up information.
Yeah.
Today, the email was back to us, like I'm on the email, completely ignores the fact that that was ever mentioned, asks Dimitri to book some more time to walk through the same things with their VP of marketing. Again, I'm trying not to assume, but I'm feeling a lot of feels at this point. And I tell Dimitri, tell my colleague, hey, I'm gonna answer this email, and I'm really trying very hard to not assume this person is being sexist right now. Maybe they just overlooked this. Maybe who knows? It could be a million things, and I'm trying really hard. My colleague reached out to me, we connected on Zoom because they, being a cisgender white man, straight white man, was like, hey, I don't ever have to deal with this, and I'm really glad you said something because I wouldn't have even thought about that. And so now, we are going to tag team this deal together because I don't want to lose it. Just because they might not want to be working with me, but I'm also not going to give it up because I've been working this account for months.
Yeah.
And went through many, many conversations, many demos. It just seemed, like I said, the best word I can come up with right now is it just seems curious. And so to answer your question, how do you handle things like that? Feel the feels because they're real, they're valid, and I can tell you it doesn't feel good. And then the best thing to do is close that account and get them to give you their money. At this point, that's the best win I could get is just to close them and be like, now what?
You paid me.
What are you trying to do here? It's not working. I'm still going to do my job and I'm going to be really good at it. You are not going to defeat me. If you don't want this solution, that is also fine. You are still not going to defeat me. You're not going to diminish me and my abilities by trying to go around that. I don't understand, right? So I think you just focus on, you control the controllables and you win your day.
Yeah, it's like if somebody's going to go through all that hassle, it's just all right, well, go ahead and be ignorant and I'll be ignorant to this check I'm about to cash. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I do feel for the inevitable account manager. Hopefully that doesn't domino effect, but I do. I mean, I know Chili Pepper. They'll shut them down real quick if they do something. But
Well, and that's the other thing. Like you asked, like how does Chili Pepper handle this stuff? In our handbook, I think there's a paragraph about like if a prospect gets on the call and they like don't want to have a conversation because you have blue hair and tattoos, we don't want them as a customer. Basically, the message is that like if our prospects and our customers can't respect our employees for who they are, we don't. It's fine. See you never.
Yeah, it is 2022. I think anybody who has been paying attention understands that the customer is not always right. Sometimes the customer is just a word I probably shouldn't say right now.
We'll just say a Karen or a Ken.
There you go.
Yeah. I thought it was Kyle. Did we ever?
I thought it was Chad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Chad.
Okay. We need everyone. We need everyone to just have a meeting so we can just like settle down.
We can decide.
See, yeah, I thought Chad was like a Sigma male. If you want to buy all those goofy.
We got flavors now of it.
Yeah, clearly.
Because being a guy was, we had to have our fun too, I guess.
And then what's the non-binary one? Like no, they don't do that. Yeah, LGBTQ people don't do this. I was like, we don't do this. Yeah. That's why there isn't one. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And that was a joke, by the way. If any cishets are bothered by that statement, but
hold on, they all don't care. So how can they be offended about something they don't care about? Because that's usually look. I don't care about race. I don't care about sex. Okay, well then why are you continuing to speak? I don't understand. If I don't care about, I just want you to know
that I don't care, man.
Yeah.
Ashley's over here like I've never heard Evan say "man" in my life.
I really haven't. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I made my mom cry one time because I said the word "bro."
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's never. You'll hear me to say "dude" every once in a while, but "bro" and "man" not really in my vocabulary. Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
That's in mine for sure.
Could you imagine me walking into SDR Nation on day one when we met? Hey, bro. No.
I mean, not if you say it like that.
Not like that.
Yeah. It's all aggressive.
That's my cis male voice. No, hey, that's my Chad voice. Hey, bro. Can't do it. I can't do it.
I don't think Chad would say bro either. I think Chad's more like, just like.
What was the Fabio hair flip?
I like it. Yeah.
I love it. That's what Ashley's going to take off of this call. I was like, I just did a podcast to help people figure out what like generic Eastern European, Western European name we're going to use to like negatively connotate this type of behavior on social media in a meme-worthy content style.
There you go. That's what sales talk and diversity has boiled down to. Look at that.
Yep. How do we create memes? So actually, on a less meme,
I feel like we've digressed quite a
bit. This is what this channel is all about: is finding a way to go from serious to chaos and back in about 15 seconds.
Really?
It's Monday after the Super Bowl,
Yeah. There was a superb owl yesterday, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Ryan, you're not speaking to the demographic.
Yeah, you missed the mark there.
Yeah, I saw Mary J. Blige. She was fantastic, but yeah, there was a football game that interrupted it all. On the topic of interruptions and no way possible related, I have a hard segue here, just like me tripping in my living room, like I mentioned earlier before we started recording. I was to be completely transparent to anybody who watched the show, we do ask our guests, what topics matter to them. And you said something that hit home to me as somebody who used to be an insurance agent. I've sold benefits before. We talked a lot about, like there's one of the things that I struggle with benefits is like, it's like, listen, I love benefits that help people create families. I understand the systemic problems of affording to have a family if you want a family.
Man,
but there is a
baby on the way. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan's like, you're speaking to me.
Right. Yeah. But there is a big chunk of your team, LGBTQIA or not, that does not want nor does not have current plans to, or just can't. There's also that, regardless of money, have children. And a lot of these benefits are also tailored to your heteronormative couple or heteronormative situation. We can go into a whole world of polyamory even, to talk about how it's a problem, right? So for me, like if I had like a wish list of benefits that companies that should incorporate that don't even apply to me, this is more LGBTQIA centric, it's like care for people getting gender confirmation surgeries or hormone replacement therapies, the list goes on, right? Is there anything that you like have like on a dream benefit list for companies for maybe not just for you, but anybody who falls in this umbrella of, women's benefits or LGBTQIA plus benefits?
Yeah, so here's where that came from. So you asked, things I wanted to talk about, and I have brought this up in other conversations before. I've been to so many panels of like on women in sales and how to attract women in sales and how to retain women in sales. And literally every single one of them talks about family planning. Now,
yep,
like you said, 100% necessary. That should be table stakes, folks. If people want to have babies, they shouldn't be penalized for it. And
babies have been being made for the existence of man. So like
yeah,
kind of necessity, a little bit important.
So, so that should be table stakes. So I hate it when I go to these panels and people are like, "Yeah, we offer paid maternity leave." Good.
You offer electricity too in your office,
right. Or like, another really important thing is paternity leave. Like, don't assume that it's just the moms that need that time to spend with their baby. Don't assume that two men aren't having a baby. Like, let's go. But I think for me and for any other human being who is not interested in having children, or to your point, cannot, then those things are not an attraction or a retention mechanism for me. And that is kind of infuriating, because when people talk about we're attracting and retaining women with all this family planning stuff, I'm like, cool, then, but you're missing out on a huge subsection of even that population, because not all of us want to procreate. So think bigger. Also, like I said, that should be table stakes, but like think bigger and think about what will help. It's not just about attracting and retaining women, it's attracting and retaining talent in general, and like what's going to help the human being who is coming to work for you. And I remember going to a Lesbians Who Tech summit in San Francisco pre-COVID, went to a talk. It was about accessibility. This woman gave an amazing presentation, and one of the things that really stood out to me is they shared how when you solve a problem for one demographic, you often solve it for many others, because you didn't even think about those impacts, right? You're laser focused on this one group that you're solving for, but it positively impacts so many others that you couldn't have even thought about.
It's a good happy accident.
Exactly. For example, when they started putting in the like little baby ramps in the corners of sidewalks, the thought process was like people in wheelchairs, right, to be able to access the sidewalk, right, without the curb. Awesome. Should be doing that 100%. Guess who else it helps? Helps your grandma who's using a walker.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Your uncle who's using a cane. It helps whoever's tripping in their kitchen and broke their toe and now has to walk on crutches. Like,
feeling a little bit attacked, but rightfully so. Self-inflicted wound.
It helps whoever's pulling a cart behind them with some groceries, right? Like, there's so many other things that helps with. So bringing that back to the benefits conversation, or the things that are going to help attract and retain talent, let's talk about the things we don't learn either in school or in the workplace. We don't learn about financial planning. We don't have resources to help in the event, like, let's say I'm having to care for an aging parent, right? Like, what about, let's talk about bereavement leave. Let's talk about the things that are applicable to the human race, not just one specific subsection of humans. And, we all are going to deal with death. Like, how do you help people navigate that? Like I said, not everybody has access to financial education. If you're working in the startup world and you've been promised equity, and you don't really know what the heck that means, and you think you're going to be a millionaire because you got 2,000 shares of equity, I'm sorry, you need to go educate yourself. Guess who's not educating those people? Most employers.
Yeah.
Right. So like offering these things that are actually going to help me in building my future and being a better human and becoming a thriving part of society, like that's what I'm interested in being offered as like a attraction and retention vehicle, not something that doesn't apply to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cause it's like if you're covering all your bases from a humanity standpoint, you should in theory cover all, if not most, of the demographics that you would be attracting and or retaining.
One of the things we just started here at Chili Piper was a development stipend, which I know a lot of companies do, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Where we're given a certain amount of money every year to spend on continuing education for ourselves. We also just implemented a Deep Work Wednesdays, which is like, no meetings day, basically.
If only.
Well, and part of that, like there were a lot of inputs in a decision memo that went into making that decision. But one thing that really stood out to me was the mention of this development stipend. Like we have it, but we don't necessarily have a dedicated time for folks to leverage it. So here I am spending money on different resources to help level up my career, my abilities as a salesperson, my abilities as a contributing member of this organization. And yet I'm having to find like either 30 minutes here and there or 15 minutes here and there to like watch that video or listen to that podcast or, whatever. But if I want to attend a class or it's an hour long something or other, like I may not be able to do it because I don't actually have time, or I'm having to do it outside of work hours, which, not a.
There becomes a work-life balance problem there.
Totally. So these are just a few things. I'm sure there are so many more intelligent people out there in the world who have a lot more ideas of how we can level up our attraction and retention game when it comes to benefits and perks and whatnot. And this is why one of the other things we do, I'm just like bragging about Chili Piper left and right here.
The thing is though, Chili Piper is good at these things. So I don't think it's really just like bragging as it is just shining a light on what works. It's facts. Yeah.
We have a program called Chili Interview Buddies. This is something that came about because a colleague of mine, way back when I was an SDR, the conversation about attracting and retaining diverse talent was going on, and we were mentioning that, like, the two of us we had no sales background. We didn't have Salesforce experience. We didn't have some of these some of the different pieces of experience that were expected.
The cliche prerequisites. Yeah.
But we came in via referrals, and so we made our way through, right? We got hired, right? We did a bang up job in the interview process too, which is why we got hired. But we didn't get immediately kind of DQ'd at the front door. We were like, if we were to come in now, and at the time the two of us were top performing SDRs, right? And I would, at this point in time, say that I am a top performing I'm a good hire, basically.
Yeah. But you have been a very profitable employee. Yes.
Right. But if we were to have come in at that point, we both would have gotten auto rejected, right? So we were like, how can we adjust this, or how can we level the playing field a little bit? Because if you're talking about hiring diverse candidates or underrepresented groups, folks who don't have access to summer internships, via college, some folks didn't even go to college. Some folks don't have the practice of interviewing, the mock calls, whatever. Maybe this is their first job. Maybe this is their first sales job. And they don't even understand the interview process. So we started Chili Interview Buddies, right? So basically I'm part of the interview buddy pool. And when a candidate comes in, and every single candidate is offered this, by the way, it is not just specific to
specific roles or groups or anything?
Right.
Okay.
Every single candidate is offered a Chili Interview Buddy. And for those who accept it, they get assigned to one of us. And our job is to help guide them through the process to make sure they feel like they're prepared, they understand what's going to happen next. They can ask us any questions. And it is one of the most
Watch 20 people
fulfilling-
steal this idea, by the way, once this call ends.
I hope they do.
Yeah.
hope
No,
they
I could
do.
tell. Yeah.
It is one of the most fulfilling things. I've had 2 people in the past 2 weeks message me on LinkedIn saying they got a job offer from Chili Piper. They are so excited. And I remember talking to them, immediately getting off the Zoom call with them being like, oh my God, they're going to be so amazing. Like, I am so pumped for them. And then every interview they made it through, to the next one, they're messaging me and be like, I made it through. I'm going to do this. I'm talking to so-and-so next, how should I prepare? Whatever. And it's just been such a cool experience to watch. And like, that's something else folks can do to like attract and retain talent in general. Right.
At the risk of ripping off my clients over at Trainio, but like that's how you also help with creating systemic generational positive changes.
Absolutely.
You and I both know when you work in tech, your life changes for the better. There's some dark sides, obviously, but like financially, medically, lifestyle, like it skyrockets, right? You, your family, the next generation, so on and so forth. And the more we can help people get into it, the better. And this is a way to help people get into it. You can give somebody a fish, or you can teach them to fish. We all know the old phrase, right? There's that. Yeah. And just because I have to teach them to fish doesn't mean they're going to be worse than the person who came with the fish.
No, exactly. In fact, I mean, most of, like I said, like I bet we could look in our pool of SDRs and see who came in with previous sales experience or those who didn't, or, and just, I don't, I have no idea. I haven't looked at these numbers, but I bet we could and see.
Yeah, you can bet money. I would too. Yeah. I'd bet money too. Coachability trumps a lot of hard skills.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that's one of the major things we're looking for in our interview process is coachability. And there's various ways for us to find that out. But it, like the simple act of accepting the interview buddy is like a huge green flag of like, okay, this candidate's willing to ask for help, which is huge.
Yeah. Asking for help is a good thing. I think for far too long it was seen as a negative, but like I'm glad that Chili Piper's helping that change, and you are also helping with that as well on an individual level. I'm gonna ask you one question before Ryan goes into the anxiety-inducing rapid round. I am trademarking that name now, by the way, the anxiety-inducing rapid fire round. But I'm gonna ask a question I already know the answer to, but I just want to hear you say it. So what you're saying is companies can't say that we're going to require college degrees for roles that statistically don't need college degrees to be successful in, and say they want a diverse talent pool at the same time.
Correct.
They can't do. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Awesome. I just want to make sure another person said that. Awesome. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. I just want that on recording. Because I feel like I'm the only person who says that.
Especially when like most colleges, I think I don't remember the exact statistic, but it is the majority of colleges do not even offer sales as a major, or like, and
I can say the same thing about marketing. Look at me. I dropped out of college in a week.
I have a dance degree, y'all.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of like art history majors or people who wanted to be a marine biologist, which is awesome. Like, hell yeah, that's an awesome degree. Totally.
Listen, I love you, but I do not know how you connect the dots between flying through the air in a hoop to being an AE.
There you go. It takes a lot of mental fortitude, remember?
Right.
Listen, I found a way to make tripping in my living room a talent for work. She can find a way to make flying through the air a talent for sales, so.
Right. Absolutely.
It's the same thing with like golf and somewhat tennis. Like you have to enjoy pain to really want to go out there and keep trying to hit a tiny ball really far down the grass out in the heat with bugs and all that. So
tell me you're on the other side of sales podcast.
I see the similarities there.
Yeah.
But yes, golf? We are going to I know, right? Hey, but if you just watched the Phoenix Open this past weekend, you would have enjoyed seeing a lot of people.
When was Phoenix closed?
Completely wasted. Oh my goodness. That's the best part of it. People, they call it's sponsored by Waste Management. So they call it the Wasted Management Phoenix Open. And there's just so many social media videos of people just completely
We gotta
obliterated.
stop. We can't. I just want to know, when was Phoenix closed and why?
Oh my gosh.
When was
I can't.
the city was closed?
You
No,
said it was
he's-
open.
Yeah, okay.
He's trying to make a joke.
He's not gonna. I know. I'm gonna keep reiterating it
Yeah,
until
but it was
clicks.
clever though. It was clever. I'm
Very
connecting
clever.
the dots there.
Potentially
Very-
too clever. I'm kidding. I mean, listen. You said the Super Bowl thing. That went right over my head. So I got you back.
Fair enough. All right. So our lightning round.
Oh,
Like
boy.
every
Anxiety-inducing lightning round. We have a trademark.
Anxiety-inducing
Indeed.
lightning round that Evan's going to trademark after this.
Yes.
I'll make sure he does. We end the show the way we always do. So we have a series of questions, nothing too serious. So don't overthink it. Just bam, whatever comes to your head,
Okay.
let it fly. So
Yeah, it's like
Evan,
a
we're
Rorschach
gonna.
test.
Do you have the questions still from last time?
No.
Well, I'll make
We are
sure you
super
have that.
prepared.
And we will alternate. So Evan gets to ask you some of these questions too.
Okay.
The excitement in this is who gets the cool question to ask, Evan or me?
Oh goodness, you get to go first.
All right, I'll go first. What's your morning routine
I
as a successful salesperson?
Yeah, I am not. I'm gonna I don't. Sometimes I journal, but I'm not that person who's got like a dedicated routine. I'm like 5 o'clock in the gym, cold shower, meditate, journal. I don't.
I love it
Lack of
because
routine is a routine.
Yes,
Yeah,
those people get on my nerves. I'm so happy that you're successful without being that person.
My partner and I, we relish in having our morning time together, and that looks different. Sometimes, we often have breakfast together. We walk the dog together. But outside of that, things might be a little different because maybe I have an earlier demo or she has an earlier coaching session or whatever. So I don't necessarily have a dedicated morning routine other than this time that is sacred between myself and my partner.
So I think that's important. You touched at something. I think people need to take a moment each morning. It almost sounds like you're thankful for this time you get to spend with your partner. And it's almost like being appreciative to wake up another day and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think having that clear focus each day is huge to getting, the results that you want out of life, not just in business, but in every facet of life.
Yeah, I like that too. You get the reminder of why of what's your why, which may or may not help you with this next question. Pick one person who has had a significant impact on your career.
Ooh, that's hard because there's a couple.
You're going to make one person really happy and the other
I
one
know.
really disappointed.
Someone's gonna block you.
Block.
Cancel.
Significant impact on my career. So many people have been willing to help and guide and step up and be there as a resource to me. So this is a really hard question, but I will say Scott Leese was integral in getting, helping me get to the point where I was confident in the decisions I was making. I'm not going to say he made decisions for me or he gave me the answers or the keys to the castle. He asked me tough questions so that I could figure out those answers for myself in order to make those decisions. And then being just a sounding board and a resource and somebody I can go to when I'm really excited or when things are really shitty, either way. I know he's got my back and he's a good friend and a good mentor and can't say enough great things about him. And he's doing amazing things in the community at large, in the sales community. And he gives away his time. People don't, I don't know. There's a lot of people who know this, but a lot of people don't know this either. Every Thursday night, he's on Zoom for 2 hours, just sharing his wisdom and sharing his experience with Amy Volas. And it's priceless. And it is free. And so like I said, many, many people have helped me and have been hugely impactful in my career and my career trajectory. But he's definitely been somebody I'm hugely thankful for.
That's awesome.
fantastic.
That pumps me up. So with that, what's your pump up song?
Oh, nice segue.
Great segue. Oh my gosh.
Have a top 2022 segues of the Outside Sales podcast.
Y'all, I don't actually know, because I'm kind of that person who's like, hey Google, play chill vibes, or hey Google, play like party music, and then just like
There's like
whatever
6
comes
people's
on,
Alexas
comes
start playing
on.
right now.
So when that's happening, what song, like, just if you hear it, you're like, oh, it's time to turn up?
I don't know. I'm the worst at this. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Well,
Anything with like something's gonna make me dance, which is like almost everything. But I don't know. My partner and I have dance parties in the kitchen all the time. Like
I'm gonna put in the show notes, "It's Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley. Like, I will voice over you right now in the editing and put them kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, I didn't even know it. Okay.
You don't know that song? It's like from
No,
the
I
Rick
do
roll.
now. I do.
Yeah, the Rick roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl.
all right, we'll let you slide on that one.
Yeah, we'll let it.
The audience is going to be very
They're
disappointed.
going to be upset. Send me your playlist. Send me your song
There you go.
recommendations,
There you
because
go.
clearly I need help in this area.
You can find Ashley on LinkedIn and you can send her your Spotify
Yes.
playlist there.
Yes, please.
So when this
I like
goes
to
live
play
on
music.
social, be sure to comment. Bam. We'll know who watched till the end.
That's right. Ooh, I like it.
Start judging. I'm not judgmental at all. What's one thing you wish you had learned earlier?
Oh my God. Like
Was it the list of
everything?
questions we're asking you?
Yes, that
Yeah.
would have been great. Which is about what? Life? Sales?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. It's supposed to be inducing. Yeah.
Yeah, in sales, I'd say. For relevancy.
Brian, don't help.
Well, that's one thing I wish somebody would have, or what I would have learned earlier. I don't know, just because I don't know anything. I feel like
I don't know anything.
I
You
don't
know
know.
a lot of things.
I feel like I'm constantly learning. I'm excited
Yeah.
by learning. I don't know if I can't think of what I wish I would have known. I don't know, like that sometimes people are, I already knew that sometimes people are rude and you just have to deal with it. Well, actually, no, here we go. I wish I would have known that sales was going to be so life-changing sooner, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was in tech before I took the sales role. I was in a marketing role, but like really didn't have a grasp of like, A, how much I would really enjoy the role, but then B, like really how life-changing it was going to be in so many ways. People talk, like when I went into marketing, because when I was transitioning out of the dance world, like everyone I talked to was like, oh, you're a creative, artsy human, you should go into marketing. And that just made sense to me. But I actually find that I'm like pushed to use my creative thinking and like I'm more as a sales rep than I ever was as a marketer. So yeah, I guess that's what I wish I knew sooner, is like
that makes sense.
Sales sooner.
A lot of great salespeople are former marketers, and a lot of great marketers are former salespeople. So we're both sides of that coin right here. So we are living proof that it's a happy surprise.
Yeah, for sure. What book has had the biggest impact on your sales career?
Ooh.
There's a lot of good ones.
Twilight. I'm kidding. I mean, maybe.
I love books. Yeah. So there is this book called The 5 Secrets of Sales Coaching. I can't remember who wrote it, but my friend Brad Phillips recommended it to me when I became an SDR team lead. And that helped me so much in leading my team, but then also in figuring out how to kind of self-evaluate, and then also now as an AE help communicate with my manager when I'm struggling, what I'm struggling with, and how we can maybe go about like leveling that up. So that was like a hugely impactful book, very easy read. And I mean, I've read so many. I loved The Challenger Sale, Gap Selling, the fanatical prospecting. Like there's so many.
That's a really well-known book. That last one you mentioned. Yeah.
There's so many great books out there, and like I'm a voracious reader. So send me your book recommendations too, y'all. Let's go.
Okay, Spotify lists and book recommendations.
Let's go.
Got it. Nobody dropped the ball. All right.
No, let's go.
So what is one way someone could have been a better ally to you?
Ooh,
I know this one stumped me too when I got asked this and I was the guest last summer.
that's tough. I also have like a goldfish memory, so like I try not to remember the things that people are like when they're not the greatest, you know.
Yeah, I relate. Yeah, it's called the anxiety-inducing lightning round.
I mean, here's the thing. I probably have a story that's similar to a lot of folks where, you know, family wasn't necessarily the most supportive when I was younger. And like, you know, that would have been nice. That would have been cool if there was some more support and allyship at that point. And I think at the same time I say that, I think a lot of my resilience and strength and ability to like create my own family and therefore be able to create, you know, strong relationships came from the fact that like I didn't have that support early on. No. So.
Yeah, I think you and I could have a 6-hour TED talk about our opinion on the some of the weird coming from dark reasons benefits of the LGBTQI plus community, where like you learn how to find your tribe. Yeah. And you get really good at it too.
Yeah.
Out of necessity.
I would like to say that things have progressed in a positive direction with my family. So like this isn't a sob story. This isn't a like negative scenario.
Oh yeah.
Anymore. Yeah.
I love that. That makes me very happy. And I'm sure I'm happy that you're happy, your family's happy. And I'm also happy that there's going to be somebody to listen to this call who's questioning something or quieter about this or whatever. You know, that's going to be very happy to hear that too. Yeah, so sure. Ryan, over to you.
Yeah. I'll also say like I think the acceptance in the family is huge, like coming from an interracial family where that used to be super taboo and not welcomed. You know, having that family support kind of allows you to, it just gives you that confidence that like, even if 100 people are jackasses, there's probably going to be that 1 or 2 people that, you know, either you can change their mind or they're doing the right things and maybe they're having that spread effect of changing minds. So with that said, we already know the answer to this. It's basically Proud Pipers, but what's maybe another way, or just talk about Proud Pipers again, way you're working to be better ally for others?
Proud Pipers is definitely a part of that. You know, trying to be an ally for others, be a support system, learn as much as I can. But I think just in general, like our company as a whole organization, we came together and read Nonviolent Communication. It's an amazing book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it.
I'm gonna write that one down. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Dr. Marshall Rosenberg is the author. And I had read it a while back. We have a whole other podcast on this topic, but that is hugely helpful in trying to really understand the unmet needs that are being expressed when folks are in sort of hostile communication mode. Whatever that might look like, right? It could be the calm person who's like throwing daggers, or it could be the angry yelling person. It doesn't really matter.
Or the lack of.
Yes, exactly. And so it's a hugely beneficial framework on how to both express your needs and feelings and observations around sort of all of that, as well as kind of decoding that from others. And I think just by improving that part of my communication and my existence as a human, I think that's going to be hugely helpful in being a stronger ally for those around me.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's there's a lot of stuff out there about like de-escalation, but this is like it's going a step beyond that. It's understanding to figure out what the real message is and then do something with that. Where like de-escalating is just like, oh, we stopped what was happening, that's it. Like it's usually, I guess you and I both can agree, I guess it sounds like, bullies are usually bullying because they're hurt too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you figure out why, then you can help them. They're usually the victim just as much. Does that make sense? I totally get that. I wrote that down. Thank you. That's a book recommendation. Okay, fine. So nobody needs to recommend a book to you because I'm kidding.
or everybody just needs to read Nonviolent Communication. That would make me super happy.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a really good read. I might actually read a book cover to cover actually now for that.
I highly recommend it.
I have read one book in my entire life cover to cover. Little known fact, actually. Yeah, only one. One. Yeah, literally only one. I'm not a reader. I'm a doer and a video guy. Like I need to see and hear. Yeah, reading just, I don't know. They go on for hours about why I struggle with it. I spend all day writing. The last thing I want to do is read more.
Greatest writers are voracious readers, Evan.
Listen, I read all day on LinkedIn. I read enough social media content. Okay.
No judging.
I'd love to know though how many words a day I read though that aren't in a book. I'm curious to learn that too. But no, I've heard that phrase before. Maybe I'm challenging the status quo. You and I both do that. So my guilty pleasure, we all know what that is. It's crying in my living room while over a lean cuisine that I stumped my toe over while making. But what is your guilty pleasure after a long day? And this is the last question, I promise.
Chocolate is definitely up there, but like I don't actually feel guilty about it. I just love eating chocolate. Yeah, probably like watching Game of Thrones or something. My partner and I are watching that right now. Like I had already like seen it and all that stuff. She hadn't, so we're kind of going through that.
You're able to put yourself through the torture knowing how bad the last season is.
Yeah, I know. God, we're getting close to that too, and I'm like, oh.
It's one of the worst like atrocities in humankind. I mean,
wow.
Very
aggressive.
Ashley is both shocked and silently agreeing.
The fact that they would lead us to such awesomeness and then just like, you know what, let's just mail it in, and like people are traveling all over the world in what seems like a matter of minutes, and with the book that's not like that quick, and so everything just felt weird and didn't have like the weight.
You feel some kind of way about that, don't you?
Yeah, we need a whole episode to unpack these feelings. For me and Ashley are going to interview you about what is the real. We're going to use nonviolent communication to understand why you are so bothered by this TV show, Ryan.
My heart is broken. The books were great, and I felt like they did it so much justice to only. It's almost like Sopranos. I don't know if it's an HBO thing that like we're gonna put together all these great seasons
That's
of
how
content.
I feel about Westworld. Now I get it, Ashley. This is how I feel about Westworld right now. So I understand.
The first season of Westworld was pretty epic, I must say.
Ashley's over here like this podcast is chaos.
But Ashley, with that kind of brings the conversation to a close. Definitely appreciate you.
It's a better close than Game of Thrones.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Hey, there it is.
There you go. So definitely appreciate you chatting with us. Where can our audience find you online?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Ashley Zagst, Zagst. And yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn Twitter and Instagram as well, at Ashley Zagst. And yeah, hit me up, send me over some playlists, book recs, whatever you got.
Yeah,
questions.
We'll have it all in the show notes. Yeah.
Awesome. Or if you guys just need like an ally. I mean, it sounds like Ashley is somebody that is open to at least giving you an ear and maybe hearing you out on what you're dealing with in sales, and that makes our community better. And with that, we'll close this conversation. I'm Ryan Woodward.
I'm Evan Patterson.
And
I'm Ashley Zagst.
Yeah. That's Ashley Zagst. We're doing great. We're loving this.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, guys, you can always find The Other Side of Sales at othersideofsales.com, Twitter at OSOS_pod. Instagram at Other Side of Sales, and LinkedIn. You can find me at Ryan Woodward. I don't know if there's any like special Instagram, but
you can give me Evan Patterson on LinkedIn, and just don't find me at home. I will sue.
Awesome. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
don't come to my house. Bye.